Yo, what's up everybody? This is Eric Okunromu, or Eric Okuns for short.
I'm DeShonta Dupree.
Peace, my name is Righteous. I go by they, them, their pronouns.
Okay, so to get things started off, we're just going to give a little bit of personal information about ourselves. So I recently just graduated from Central Michigan University with a degree in health sciences, and my major at school was exercise science, and I had a minor in psychology and a certificate in culture and global competencies. I'm passionate about anything that has to do with just holistic health, exercise, education, being an advocate for just mental health and just taking care of yourself, anything along those lines. I'm all for it.
My name is DeShonta Dupree. I graduated from Central Michigan University with a bachelor's in integrated public relations with a minor in marketing. And currently I'm studying at Eastern Michigan University for a integrated marketing communications degree. For my family background, I'm the only child. I actually live with my cousin. She's actually my guardian. So with that,
It's Righteous again. I am 24 years old. I'm from Southfield. I have two parents and a sister. So, we grew up with a few different cousins in the house. So I think it's a very communal type of upbringing that I had. And right now, I just got out of classes. So I graduated class of 2020 from MSU. I got a degree in horticultural science. And what I intend to do with it is work with other farmers to have fresh fruits and vegetables in the area. Just had a community here that we all need.
We all had some questions prepared, just talking a little bit about personal experiences, Black Lives Matter, different topics that are really just prevalent during this time. Now the first question is, how was your journey with figuring out your identity over the years?
For me, I think it just took time. For my identity, coming into Blackness, I think more in college, I became more pro-Black and just learning more about the history of, Black people and Black movements for liberation. As far as like my sexual identity and gender, I would say in high school, I just kind of, started to know, okay, definitely not straight. And, just being honest about that and the coming out process in between, I think in college, that's when I was just like, okay, I'm non-binary, that's my thing, that's who I am. Just telling people about my pronouns and how I want to be seen and respected.
I could definitely agree the same thing. It definitely took time. Like I could say during high school, I kind of noticed my senior year. I definitely figure out who I was as a person during college. So I definitely think it takes time and there's no rush. Don't ever think you have to rush the process. Just coming out and just speaking your truth. I definitely think my friends and family, my cousins definitely support me fully throughout anything I've done in my past. So I definitely have great support system.
So I am of Nigerian descent. So just learning more about just some of our values, our customs, traditions, and even having my parents just tell us a little bit about our culture, or even that could be shown with just what we will wear with our attire, or just like how we think, or just how we communicate with others. I still remember taking classes pertaining just to African American history or the African experience. So I even started to learn a little bit more about my culture through those classes. And in terms of just sexual orientation, I would say I've always known I've just been a heterosexual male. What really started to broaden my horizon and where I started to just expand more was honestly just through college, because that's when I really just started to learn just more about just the different identities that people can have. Now just going through college and just understanding the world a little bit better, it definitely does hold a lot of weight to what ethnicity or what social group you identify with, and it really all just comes down to just respecting people at the end of the day and just admiring the differences that people bring to the table and just wanting to have equality for everyone. And I can start with you, DeShonta. So the next question that we have is what were some of the general reactions that you got from people, let's say your support system or family members, when you started to tell them about your identity and your sexual preference?
Well, yeah, I'll actually start off by telling my story of how I told my cousin, actually. I just sat her down, honestly, once I came home from school during winter break, I want to say. And I just talked to her, honestly. And honestly, she thought I got a girl pregnant, to be honest. So she was she was definitely accepting of who I am. She didn't judge me or anything. So she was definitely accepting, and definitely my friend group as well. Like a lot of them was very supportive, and they always said they would have my back no matter what situation. So definitely full support system. Mix of love.
What about you, right?
I had a bit of a different process. First, I tried to see how my friends feel about it, and like my family about my age. So for the most part, it wasn't too much, backlash. I think one of my cousins she's like, okay, what does the Bible say about it? Kind of thing. But I still love you. I had a few friends who were like, yeah, we already knew. So I was like, okay, why didn't you say something? Like, have me out here in the cold. But it got a little more difficult when, I told my parents. A lot of disbelief. The idea of, oh, you're too young to know, if you're gay. My parents are conservative and Christian. To some extent, I think, it leads their lives. I don't think they're deeply conservative, but I think to some extent they just told me it was sinful or going to hell kind of thing, and not to tell nobody. And I just wasn't about to do that. I was just like, look, this is who I am. I'm not about to lie about it. And so after that, I think for the most part, a lot of my family assumed. I haven't really always had to come out just because of the way that I dress or people perceiving that, I am, gay. Really, either way, much matter. I'm gonna live my life.
Right. For a black male, especially going into college, most people think, oh, it's college, have fun, turn up, blah, 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 and you have to have as many girls as you want and do things along those lines that will make you seem cooler in front of other people. And I feel that can cause people just to not really be true with themselves. So I feel even a lot of internal pressure can come from family. Where's your girlfriend? When are you gonna have a wife? When are you gonna get married? And I just feel that can always just add a lot of unnecessary pressure to just individuals just really growing and really learning more about themselves. Because I just feel all of us just being in young adolescence, we're still gathering bits and pieces about ourselves and just gathering our full identity. So just hearing all the outside pressure just coming from it can either be friends or what society deems is cool for you or how you should act or how parents view you. I just feel it can just be difficult, and it can just add more pressure to all the pressures and anxiety that a lot of us are already feeling. Has it been difficult with being just a black gay male and being a part of Black Lives Matter and just being a part of the LGBTQ community?
So let me just start off by saying it's just crazy seeing everything going on in the world as far as I know there's a recent explosion in Beirut, there's the pandemic situation going on as far as the Black Lives Matter movement. I think that we should support all Black lives as far as transgender lives, LGBTQ, all Black Lives Matter. So I just think it's important for us to show our support, and then also show our support to Black businesses as well.
Yeah.
As far as I don't know, beauty products, whether it's clothing wear, just showing your support and giving your support back to those businesses instead of corporations and such. So I definitely think I would fully give my support to Black businesses.
So I think for me right now, things that I see in the world, first you have multiple pandemics, right? So police brutality is a pandemic. It is an issue. It is killing our people. You have the pandemic of COVID-19. So having multiple issues happen at once, and then being stuck at home, you have to really go home and be with that. And so for me, I've been trying to be involved as possible with what's going on, and trying to get there out on the streets, and let people know we're fighting for Black liberation, and we want Black liberation. We want it now. It's not something that can be pushed back.
Yeah.
I think that's what Black Lives Matter is really going for. You have other organizations under Movement for Black Lives that are fighting for Black justice and accountability. So that kind of thing. I think for me, when I think about Black liberation, I think about all Black people. Just like you, there's so many different types of Black people, and there's different types of oppression. Being Black, being trans, being gay, being a woman or feminine, might be disabled or differently abled. And I think we just have to start grounding ourselves that yes, there's a lot that Black men go through, but it's a lot that Black people go through. And being a Black man, you can be brutalized, and being a Black woman, you can be brutalized, and people may not get that justice. being a black person maybe feels like. So it's a very real thing.
So I even want to start off with just a small experience that I had my freshman year. I went to a drag show for the first time my freshman year at CMU, and I honestly had no idea what a drag show was. Like, I was a part of this organization, so we all just wanted to go and like show our support, and I don't know why it never like dawned upon me to even ask what it was, but I just kept seeing drag show, so I'm just like, all right, cool, like I'm gonna just go, whatever. Like, I never looked into it. So when I went and I seen what it was, like, it was basically kind of like a fashion show, and they were like showing off the different decor that they were wearing, and of course like it would be either gay people or transgenders representing just what they're wearing. And truth be told, I had a great time. I remember like I was having such a great time. Like, I would put some of it on my Snapchat, and I got so much backlash for like, oh, you're gay, oh, why did you go to this? Oh, I lost so much respect for you. I internalized all of that, and it just made me feel like horrible. I'm just like, dude, why is this like such a problem? Like, what's even the big deal like surrounding this? So I just share that experience to say, like, I always just want to show my support, but I do just need to get better at just like getting past those fears or anxieties about what people are going to be saying about me behind closed doors, because it doesn't matter at the end of the day, because I want equality and justice for everyone, and these are topics that need to be talked about. And so what are some things that you would want people to know when it comes to supporting movements like Black Lives Matter, or even being in support of the LGBTQ community?
We live in a society where it's like, oh no, I know you better than you know you. I'm going to tell you what's going on with you. And it's like, somebody tells you their gender, believe them. They tell you that they're experiencing harassment or issues. That's a real thing for them. And, you know, someone tells you they're sad, they're sad. You don't have to like brighten up their day. You can, you know, just be realistic with what's going on with people and believe them when they say the things that they say. I think that's a big thing for the LGBTQIA+, because sometimes you get straight people and it's like, oh, well, they're choosing to be gay. And it's like, how can you make that decision for them and say that you don't know any better than anybody else? You know what I'm saying? So when you start telling people who they are and what they're going through and how they perceive the world, that's when you mess up. You know what I'm saying? The person's going to know themselves the best. That group's going to know themselves the best. And I think just for the LGBTQIA+, you know, I know you just talk about support. And yeah, you're going to have people like, oh, well, you hang around gay people, you support gay people, you must be gay on the low. It's like, no, not necessarily so. Like, you can have gay friends and not be gay. I got straight friends, I ain't straight. That's it. Like, you know, I think people are so quick to say, like, you know, because a lot of black men have a hard time coming out, it's like, oh, that person's gay, that person's on the down low. And it's just like, no, I support that, I love that, I care for those people, and I want the best for them. And I think we have to kind of come out of that mindset that, like, you know, if someone is in a large support or if they really hate gays, they must be gay. And it's like, some people just who they are, and some people really just hate gays and they not gay. So, you know, I think that's a big thing for me. It's just going out of your way to make space for people that aren't like yourself. You know, you might not be going through that struggle, but it's still a very real struggle, and you still want to care about those people.
I would definitely say do your research. Like, there's many like outlets on the website, like right now, like for far as like donating to different like organizations, black businesses, transgender lives. So like, it's definitely important to do your research. You stay to your truth and know who you are as a person. Don't let someone's like negative comment affect you. Definitely think you should stay focused and like be true to yourself and just always create positivity. So
the only thing I would like to say is like protect black trans women. That's it. I think we had the 26th murder of a black trans woman, and that's someone who was, those are the people who are openly trans, right? And those are the ones that are identified as trans, because we have trans women that are misidentified as black men and deaf. And so we have to make sure that if you love black trans women or if you love trans people, speak up and say so, protect them. If you hear transphobic or homophobic ideas, say something so that doesn't manifest in action. We have a lot of, you know, black trans women dying from our community, killing them, on top of police brutality, because they encountered it too, just like any other woman that's black. So definitely protect black trans women.
Yeah, it's basically just dismantling these chains of just oppression for different groups of people, and just like having a better understanding of just what's going on in our world today. And this justice, of course, is for the more recent killings of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. Like, we're still seeking justice for Breonna Taylor's case. I heard that it opened back up and like they're investigating it more, and it's a step in the positive direction.
Definitely continue showing your support to black businesses. the protests and definitely do your research.
Yeah, for sure. So thank you all for viewing this video. Hopefully you all gained some really strong, insightful information. Let's just all just try and take positive, intentional action. It all just comes back to just being intentional with what we're trying to do and just creating a better space and a better world for the people around us at the end of the day, because that's what it comes down to, is just equality and justice for all, and just trying to dismantle systems of oppression